It's Sunday, and I'm wrapping up the week by summarizing this week's theme: how to keep your focus and your nerve amid market chaos. Now, in case you missed any of the episodes this week, what I really tried to do is share with you some tips and ideas and strategies that have worked for me and my clients over the years in just maintaining that focus on the long term. And there's simple things like I talked about, just stop looking at your investments. There's this concept in behavioral finance called loss aversion. And basically, the pain we feel from a loss is twice as bad as the pleasure we feel from a similar gain. And so, if you look all the time, you're going to see losses a lot more often. You're going to be depressed about your investment portfolio. You're going to be more likely to give into that and sell. So we want to avoid that. And the simplest thing, just stop looking. Stop looking. Don't look as much. Don't look at all. Just bury your head in the sand. Sometimes that's a good thing. I talked about a Warren Buffett concept, basically focusing on the long term. If you're not going to own it for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. We always need to stay focused on the long term, 10, 15, 20 years, because you got to stay invested for the rest of your life, however long that is. So yes, today's events matter, but not compared to the long term. You're not even going to remember half the stuff or what year it happened in, or you're like vaguely recall. It's not going to matter that much in 10, 15, 20 years. So we can't make life-changing decisions with our investments based on whatever crisis du jour is going on. That I talked about how dead investors outperform alive people because they're not tempted. They don't get in and out at the wrong times. The average investor statistically over time woefully underperforms. I think they actually don't even keep up with inflation, which is pretty sad because inflation, it's like if inflation's averaging 2.5%, the average investor is averaging like 2.3%. And that's because they panic and sell when things are bad. And then they get in like right at the top and they buy and sell at exactly the wrong times. And then I talked about why the circumstances might change in every market downturn, but every year without fail, the world is a scary, uncertain place. Bad things happen all the time. And most of the time, those things don't have much of an impact on the markets. Now, of course, sometimes they do, and it's important to acknowledge it. But when you take that long-term focus and realize that, again, in 10 years, is this going to matter that much? Probably not. And so we have to always remind ourselves that you invest because you believe that there will be future growth in the American economy, American businesses, because that's what represents the S&P 500, for example. All it is just the collective valuation and current value of all the largest companies in the United States, not just the United States, but in the world too. And so if you believe that those companies are going to continue to grow and thrive in the future, then why wouldn't you invest? You want to keep that in mind. And today's events matter, but not as much as staying invested for the long term and seeing that growth over a longer period of time. And then I talked about some practical ways yesterday to help ensure that you're not in a position where you're forced to sell. It's sort of back to the basics financial advice, but I think a lot of us forget these things. It's like minimizing your debt, maintaining enough cash for emergencies, and thinking through some of the worst case scenarios. Like, what would you do if you were laid off tomorrow and you couldn't find work for 6 months? How would that impact your finances, your investments? What can you do to build a moat around the castle that is your retirement portfolio, your finances, so that you don't let the enemy in so easily? That's about it for this week. Next week, I will be starting a brand new theme. It's so lighthearted these days, teetering on the edge. Are we headed for a recession? I might change that depending on my mood, actually. It's tough to pick these topics because I want to pick things that are timely and relevant and valuable for you. Otherwise, why would you listen if it was just me talking? Blech. Who wants that? But you want something valuable, right? I get that. And that's why you're here. And I want to provide you with value. But we can't be so doom and gloom. And in reality, I'm not. I actually think, spoiler alert, I think we already are in a recession and we may have been for a little while now. But usually they take like a year to declare, oh yeah, a recession started 13 months ago. It's like, thanks, I already knew that. That wasn't any help. But I think it's important to talk about current events, but I don't know, is that too much? Should I not talk about market chaos like I'm doing right now and then talk about a recession next week? I might have to push that out a week. So we'll see. We'll see what I feel like. It's my podcast. I do what I feel like. Okay. If you're enjoying the podcast, subscribe and follow so you never miss an episode. Leave a review. I love reading reviews. It helps me improve the podcast. It also helps new listeners find the show. And if you know a family member, a friend, someone getting close to retirement, please share the show. And if you'd like to work with me, you can check out my website, truenorthra.com. You can actually book a free 15-minute phone call with me. There's a link in the upper right-hand corner of the homepage. I love hearing from listeners, and I'm more than happy to talk with you about anything on your mind regarding retirement. No strings attached. You got a question? Maybe I have an answer. You can connect with me on my website. And again, that's truenorthra.com. I hope you have a blessed Sunday. My name is Ashley Mitchikay, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.